His throat twitches. Slap bang. There he goes again. Bloom. The sty I dislike. Virag arches his eyebrows. Contact with a gold ring, they say. Argumentum ad feminem. As we said in old Rome and ancient Greece in the consulship of Diplodocus and Ichthyosaurus. For the rest, Eve's sovereign remedy. Not for sale, hire only, Huguenot. He twitches. It is a funny sound. He coughs encouragingly. But possibly, it is only a wart. I presume you shall have remembered what I will have taught you on that head. Wheaten meal with honey and nutmeg? Bloom, reflecting. Wheaten meal with lycopodium and syllabax. This searching ordeal. It has been unusually fatiguing day, a chapter of accidents. Wait, I mean, wart's blood spreads warts, you said. Virag, severely, his nose hard-humped, his side-eye winking. Stop twirling your thumbs and have a good old thunk. See, you have forgotten. Exercise your mnemotechnic. La causa es santa. Tara, aside. He will surely remember. Bloom. Rosemary also, did I understand you to say? Or willpower over parasitic tissues? Then nay, no, I have an inkling. The touch of a dead hand cures, Nemo? Virag excitedly. I say so. Even so, technic. He taps his parchment roll energetically. This book tells you how to act with all the descriptive particulars. Consult index for agitated fear of aconite, melancholy of muriatic, priapic, pulsatilla. Virag is going to talk about amputation, our old friend, caustic. They must be starved. Snip off with the horsehair under the den neck. But to change the venue, to the Bulgar and the Basque, have you made up your mind whether you like or dislike women in male habiliments? With a dry snigger. You intend to devote an entire year to the study of the religious problem, and the summer months of 1886 to square the circle and win that million. Pomegranate, from the sublime to the ridiculous is but a step. Pajamas, let us say? Or stockingette, gusseted knickers, closed? Or put me the case, those complicated combinations, knickers? He crows derisively. Key, re-key. Bloom surveys uncertainly the three whores, then gazed at the veiled mauve light, hearing the ever-flying moth. Bloom. I wanted then to have now concluded. Night dress was never, hence this. But tomorrow is a new day will be. Past was is today. What now is will then tomorrow, as now was be past yester. Virag prompts in a pig's whisper. Insects of the day spend their brief existence in reiterated coition, lured by the smell of the inferiorly pulchritudinous female possessing extendified pudendal nerve and dorsal region. Pretty pole. His yellow parrot beak gabbles nasally. They had a proverb in the Carpathians, in or about the year 5550 of our era. 1 tablespoon of honey will attract friend Bruin more than half a dozen barrels of first-choice malt vinegar. Bears buzz bothers bees, but of this part. At another time we may resume. We were very pleased, we others. He coughs and bending his brow rubs his nose thoughtfully with a scooping hand. You shall find that these night insects follow the light. An illusion, for remember their complex unadjustable eye. For all these naughty points, see the 17th book of my Fundamentals of Sexology, or the Love Passion, which Dr. L.B. says is the book sensation of the year. Some, to example, there are again whose movements are automatic. Perceive. That is his appropriate sun. Night bird, night sun, night town. Chase me, Charlie. He blows into Boom's ear. Buzz. Bloom. Bee or blue bottle, too. Other day. Budding shadow on the wall. Dazed self, then me. Wandered dazed down shirt. Good job, I. Virag, his face impassive, laughs in a rich feminine key. Splendid! Spanish fly in his fly, or mustard plaster on his dibble. He gobbles gluttonously with turkey waddles. Bubbly jock, where are we? Open sesame, cometh forth. He unrolls his parchment rapidly and reads, his glowworm's nose running backwards over the letters which he claws. Stay, good friend, I bring thee thy answer. Red Bank oysters will shortly be upon us. I'm the best to cook. Those succulent bivalves may help us, and the truffles of Perigord, tubers dislodged through Mr. Omnivorous Porker, were unsurpassed in cases of nervous debility or virigitis. Though they sink, yet they sting. He wags his head with cackling raillery, jocular. With my eyeglass and my ocular, he sneezes. Amen. Bloom absently. Ocularly woman's bivalve case is worse. Always open sesame, the cloven sex. Why they fear vermin, creeping things. Yet Eve and the serpent contradicts. Not a historical fact, obvious analogy to my idea. Serpents too are gluttons for women's milk, wind their way through miles of omnivorous forest to suck succulent her breast dry, like those bubbly jocular Roman matrons one reads of in Elephantuliasis. Virag, his mouth projected in hard wrinkles, eyes stonily forlornly closed, psalms in outlandish monotone. That the cows with their distended utters that they have been thee than known. Bloom, I am going to scream, I beg your pardon? Ah, so? He repeats, spontaneously, to seek out the saurian's lair in order to entrust their teats to his avid suction. Ant milks Aphis. Profoundly, instinct rules the world in life and death. Virag, head askew, arches his back and hunched winged shoulders, peers at the moth out of blear, bulged eyes, points a horning claw and cries, Who's Moth? Who's dear Gerald? Dear Ger, that you? Oh dear, he is Gerald. Oh, I much fear he shall be most badly burned. Will some pleash Persian, not now impediment so catastrophix mid-adjugation of first-class table numpkin? He mews, puss. He sighs, draws back, and stares sideways down with dropping underjaw. Well, he doth rest anon. He snaps his jaws suddenly on the air. The moth. I'm a tiny thing, ever flying in the spring, round and round a ring. Long ago I was king, now I do this kind of thing, on the wing, bing. He rushes against the mauve shade, flapping noisily, pretty petticoats. From left upper entrance with 2 gliding steps, Henry Flower comes forward to left front center. He wears a dark mantle and drooping plumed sombrero. He carries a silver-stringed inlaid dulcimer and a long-stem bamboo Jacob's pipe. Its clay bowl fashioned as a female head. He wears dark velvet hose and silver-buckled pumps. He has the romantic savior's face with flowing locks, thin beard, and mustache. His spindle legs and sparrow feet are those of the tenor Mario, Prince of Candia. He settles down his goffered ruffs and moistened his lips with a passage of his amorous tongue. Henry, in a low dulcet voice, touching the strings of his guitar, there is a flower that bloometh. Virag truculent, his jowls set, stares at the lamp. Grave Bloom regards Zoe's neck. Henry gallant turns with pendant dewlap to the piano. Stephen to himself, play with your eyes shut, imitate paw, filling my belly with husks of swine. Too much of this, I will arise and go to my. Expect this is thee, Steve. Thou art in a parlous way. Must visit old Deasy or telegraph. Our interview of this morning has left me on a deep impression. Though our ages will write fully tomorrow, I'm partially drunk, by the way. He touches the keys again. Minor chord comes now. Yes, not much, however. Almadano Artifoni holds out a baton roll of music with vigorous mustache work. Si rifletta, le rovino tutto. Flore, sing us something, love's old sweet song. Stefan, no voice. I am most finished artist. Lynch, did I show you the letter about the lute? Flore, smirking. The bird that can sing and won't sing. The Siamese twins, Philip drunk and Philip sober, 2 Oxford dons with lawnmowers, appear in the window, embrasure. Both are masked with Matthew Arnold's face. Philip sober, take a fool's advice, all is not well, work it out with the butt end of a pencil, like a good young idiot. £3.12 you got, 2 notes, 1 sovereign, 2 crowns, if youth but knew. Mooney's en ville, Mooney's Surmer, the Moira, Larchet's, Hollis Street Hospital, Burke's. Eh? I am watching you. Philip drunk impatiently. Ah, posh, man. Go to hell, I paid my way. If I could only find out about the octaves, reduplication of personality. Who was it told me his name? His lawnmower begins to purr. Aha, yes, Zoe Musasagapo. Have a notion I was here before. When was it not Atkinson, his card I have somewhere? Mac somebody? Unmac I have it. He told me about, hold on, Swinburne, was it? No? Florey, and the song? Stefan, spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Florey, are you out of Maynooth? You're like someone I knew once. Stefan, out of it now. To himself. Clever. Philip drunk and Philip sober, their lawnmowers purring with a rigadoon of Grashams. Clever Evers, out of it. By the by, have you the book? The thing? The ash plant? Yes, there it is, yes. Clever Ever, out to fit now. Keep in condition, do like us. Zoe, there was a priest down here 2 nights ago. To do his bit of business with his coat buttoned up. You needn't try to hide, I says to him. I know you've a Roman collar. Virag, perfectly logical from his standpoint. Fall of man? Harshly, his pupils waxing. To hell with the Pope. Nothing new under the sun. I am Virag, who disclosed the sex secrets of monks and maidens. Why I left the Church of Rome. Read the priest, the woman, and the confessional. Penrose, flippity-gippert. He wriggles. Woman, undoing the sweet pewter, her belt of rush rope, offers her all-moist yoni to man's lingam. Short time after, man presents woman with pieces of jungle meat. Woman shows joy and covers herself with feather skins. Man loves her yoni fiercely with big lingam, the stiff one. He cries, cactus volui. Then giddy woman will run about. Strong man grasps woman's wrist. Woman squeals, bites, spucks. Man, now fierce angry, strikes woman's fat yagdana. He chases his tail, piff-paff, po-po. He stops, sneezes. He worries his butt. Lynch, I hope you have the good father a penance. 9 glorias for shooting a bishop. Zoe, spouts walrus smoke through her nostrils. He couldn't get a connection, only sensation, a dry rush. Bloom, poor man. Zoe, lightly, only for what happened him. Bloom, how? Virag, a diabolic rictus of black luminosity contracting his visage, cranes his scraggy neck forward. He lifts a mooncalf nozzle and howls, Verflucht the Goem. He had a father, 40 fathers. He never existed, pig god. He had 2 left feet. He was Judas Iachia, a Libyan eunuch, the Pope's bastard. He leans out on tortured forepaws, elbows bent rigid, his eye agonizing in his flat skull neck, and yelps over the mute world, a son of a whore, apocalypse. Kitty. And Mary Shortall was in the lock with the pox she got from Jimmy Pigeon in the blue caps, had a child off him that couldn't swallow and was smothered with the convulsions in the mattress, and we all subscribed for the funeral. Philip jumped gravely. Qui vous a mis dans cette fichue position, Philip? Philip sober, gaily. C'était la sacre pigeon, Philippe. Kitty unpins her hat and sets it down calmly, patting her henna hair, and a prettier, a daintier head of winsome curls as never seen on a whore's shoulder. Lynch puts on her hat. She whips it off. Lynch laughs, and to such delights as Mechnikov, inoculated anthropoid apes. Florrie nods, locomotor ataxi. Zoe gaily, oh, my dictionary. Lynch, 3 wise virgins. Virag, og-shaken, profuse yellow spawn foaming over his bony epileptic lips. She sold love philters, white wax, orange flower. Panther, the Roman centurion, polluted her with his genitories. He sticks out a flickering phosphorescent scorpion tongue, his hand on his fork. Messiah. He burst her tympanum. With gibbering baboon's cries, he jerks his hips in the cynical spasm. Hick, heck, hock, hawk, hook, cock, kook. Ben Jumbo Dollard, rubicund, muscle-bound, hairy-nostriled, huge-bearded, cabbage-geared, shaggy-chested, shock-maned, fat-pepped, stands forth, his loins and genitals tightened into a pair of black-bathing bag-slops. Ben Dollard, knackering castanet bones in his huge padded paws, yodels jovially in bass barrel tone. When love absorbs my ardent soul. The virgins Nurse Callan and Nurse Quigley burst through the ring-keepers and the ropes and mob him with open arms. The virgins, gushingly, Big Ben, Ben, my Cree. A voice, hold that fellow with the bad breeches. Ben Dollard smites this thigh in abundant laughter. Hold him now. Henry, caressing on his breast a severed female head, murmurs, Thine heart, mine love. He plucks his lute strings, when first I saw. Virag, sloughing his skins, his multitudinous plumage molting. Rats! He yawns, showing a coal-black throat, and closes his jaw by an upward push of his parchmental. After having said which I took my departure, farewell, fare thee well, Drek. Henry Flower combs his mustache and beard rapidly with a pocket comb, and gives a cow's lick to his hair. Steered by his rapier, he glides to the door, his wild harp slung behind him. Virag reaches the door in 2 ungainly stilt hops. His tail cocked and daftly clept sideways on the wall, a pussy yellow flybill, butting it with his head. The flybill, K2, post no bills, strictly confidential, Dr. H.Y. Franks. Henry, all is lost now. Virag unscrews his head in a trice and holds it under his arm. Virag's head, quack. Exeunt severally. Stephen, over his shoulder to Zoe. You would have preferred the fighting parson who founded the Protestant era. But beware Anasthenes, the dog sage, and the last end of Arius Heresiarchus, the agony in the closet. Lynch, all one in the same God to her. Stephen, devoutly, and sovereign lord of all things. Flory to Stephen, I'm sure you're a spoiled priest or a monk. Lynch, he is, a cardinal's son. Stephen, Cardinal Sin, monks of the screw. His Eminence, Simon Stephen Cardinal Daedalus, primate of all Ireland, appears in the doorway, dressed in red soutane, sandals, and socks. 7 dwarf simian acolytes, also in red, Cardinal Sins, uphold his train, peeping under it. He wears a battered silk hat sideways on his head. His thumbs are stuck in his armpits and his palms outspread. Round his neck hangs a rosary of corks ending on his breast in a corkscrew cross. Releasing his thumbs, he invokes grace from on high with large wave gestures and proclaims the bloated pomp. The cardinal, Conservio, lies captured. He lies in the lowest dungeon, with manacles and chains round his limbs, weighing upwards of 3 tons. He looks at all for a moment, his right eye closed tight, his left cheek puffed out. Then, unable to repress his merriment, he rocks to and fro, arms akimbo, and sings with broad rollicking humor. Oh, the poor little fellow, his legs they were yellow. He was plump, fat, and heavy, and brisk as a snake. But some bloody savage, to graze his white cabbage, he murdered Nell Flaherty's duck-loving drake. A multitude of midges swarms white over his robe. He scratches himself with crossed arms at his ribs, grimacing, and exclaims, I'm suffering the agony of the damned by the hokey fiddle. Thanks be to Jesus, those funny little chaps are not unanimous. If they were, they'd walk me off the face of the globe. His head aslant, he blesses curtly with 4 and middle fingers, imparts the Easter kiss, and double shuffles off comically, swaying his hat from side to side, shrinking quickly to the size of his train bearers. The dwarf acolytes giggling, peeping, nudging, ogling, Easter kissing, zigzag behind him. His voice is heard mellow from afar, merciful male, melodious. Shall carry my heart to thee, shall carry my heart to thee, and the breath of the balmy night shall carry my heart to thee. The trick door handle turns. The door handle. Thee! Zoe, the devil is in that door. A male form passes down the creaking staircase and is heard taking the waterproof and hat from the rack. Bloom starts forward involuntarily, and half closing the door as he passes, takes the chocolate from his pocket and offers it nervously to Zoe. Zoe sniffs his hair briskly. Thank your mother for the rabbits. I'm very fond of what I like. Bloom, hearing a male voice and talk with the whores on the doorstep, pricks his ears. If it were he? After? Or because not? Or the double event? Zoe tears open the silver foil. Fingers was made before forks. She breaks off and nibbles a piece, gives a piece to Kitty Ricketts, and then turns kittenishly to Lynch. No objection to French lozenges. He nods. She taunts him. Have it now, or wait till you get it? He opens his mouth, his head cocked. She whirls the prize in left circle. His head follows. She whirls it back in right circle. He eyes her. Catch! She tosses a piece. With an adroit snap, he catches it and bites it through with a crack. Kitty, chewing. The engineer I was with at the bazaar does have lovely ones, full of the best liquors, and the viceroy was there with his lady. The gas we had on the Toff's hobby horses, I'm giddy still. Bloom, and Spingali's fur overcoat with folded arms and Napoleonic forelock, frowns in ventriloquial exorcism with piercing eagle glance toward the door. Then rigid with left foot advanced, he makes a swift pass with impelling fingers and gives the sign of past matter, drawing his right arm downwards from his left shoulder. Go, 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 I conjure you, whoever you are. A male cough and tread are heard passing through the mist outside. Bloom's features relax. He places a hand on his waistcoat, posing calmly. Zoe offers him chocolate. Bloom solemnly. Thanks. Zoe. Do as you're bid. Here. A firm heel-clacking tread is heard on the stairs. Bloom takes the chocolate. Aphrodisiac? Tansy and pennyroyal, but I bought it. Vanilla calms or... Nemo. Confused light confuses memory. Red influences lupus. Colors affect women's characters, any they have. This black makes me sad. Eat and be merry for tomorrow. He eats. Influence taste, too, mauve. But it is so long since I, seems new, Afro, that priest, must come, better late than never. Try truffles at Andrew's. The door opens. Bella Cohen, a massive whore mistress, enters. She is dressed in a three-quarter ivory gown fringed round the hem with tasseled selvage and cools herself flirting a black-horn fan like Minnie Hawk and Carmen. On her left hand are wedding and keeper rings. Her eyes are deeply carboned. She has a sprouting mustache. Her olive face is heavy, slightly sweated and full-nosed with orange-tainted nostrils. She has a large pendant barrel eardrops. Bella, my word, I'm all of a muck sweat. She glances round at the couples, then her eyes rest on Bloom with hard insistence. Her large fan winnows wind towards her heated face neck and ebon point. Her falcon eyes glitter. The fan, flirting quickly, then slowly. Married, I see. Bloom, yes, partly, I have mislaid. The fan half opening, then closing, and the missus is master, petticoat government. Bloom looks down with a sheepish grin. That is so. The fan, folding together, rests against her left eardrop. Have you forgotten me? Bloom, yes, yo. The fan, folded akimbo against her waist. Is me her was you dreamed before? Was then she him, you us since new? Am all, them, and the same now we? Bella approaches, gently tapping with the fan. Bloom, wincing, powerful being, in my eyes read that slumber which women love. The fan, tapping. We have met. You are mine. It is fate. Bloom, cowed. Exuberant female, enormously I desiderate your domination. I am exhausted, abandoned, no more young. I stand, so to speak, with an unposted letter bearing the extra regulation fee before the too late box of the General Post Office of human life. The door and window open at a right angle, cause a draught of 32 feet per second according to the law of falling bodies. I have felt this instant a twinge of sciatica in my left gluteal muscle. It runs in our family. Poor dear papa, a widower, was a regular barometer from it. He believed in animal heat. A skin of tabby lined his winter waistcoat. Near the end, remembering King David and the Sunamite, he shared his bed with Athos, faithful after death. A dog's spittle, as you probably. He winces. Ah! Richie Golding, bag-weighted, passes the door. Mocking his catch, best value in dub, fit for a prince's, liver and kidney. The fan tapping. All things end. Be mine, now. Bloom undecided. All now. I should have not parted with my talisman. Rain, exposure at dewfall on the sea rocks, a peccadillo at my time of life. Every phenomena has a natural cause. The fan points downward slowly. You may. Bloom looks downward and perceives her unfastened bootlace. We are observed. The fan points downward quickly. You must. Bloom, with desire, with reluctance. I can make a true black knot, learned when I served my time, and worked the mail order line for Kellett's. Experienced hand, every knot says a lot. Let me, in courtesy, I knelt once before today. Ah! Bella raises her gown slightly, and steadying her pose, lifts to the edge of a chair a plump, buskined hoof, and a full pastern silk-socked. Bloom, stiff-legged, aging, bends over her hoof with his gentle fingers drawn out and interlaces. Bloom murmurs lovingly, to be a shoe-fitter in Manfield's was my love's young dream, the darling joys of sweet button-hooking, to lace up crisscross to knee-length the dressy kid footwear, satin-lined, so incredibly impossibly small of Clyde Road ladies. Even their wax model, Raymond, I visited daily to admire her cobweb hose and stick of rhubarb toe as worn in Paris. The hoof, smell my hot goat hide, feel my royal weight. Bloom cross-lacing. Too tight? The hoof. If you bungle, Handy Andy, I'll kick your football for you. Bloom. Not to lace the wrong eyelet as I did the night of the bazaar dance. Bad luck. Hook and wrong tash of her. Pursing you mentioned, that night she met. Now. He knots the lace. Bella places her foot on the floor. Bloom raises his head. Her heavy face, her eyes strike him in mid-brow. His eyes grow dull, darker, and pouched. His nose thickens. Bloom mumbles. Awaiting your further orders, we remain, gentlemen. Bellow, with a hard basilisk stare and a baritone voice. Hound of dishonor. Bloom, infatuated. Empress! Bello, his heavy cheek chops sagging. Adore of the adulterous rump. Bloom, plaintively. Hugeness! Bello, dung devourer. Bloom, with sinews semi-flexed. Magnificence! Bello, down. He taps her on the shoulder with his fan. Incline feet forward. Slide left foot 1 pace back. You will fall. You are failing. On the hands down. Bloom, her eyes upturned in the sign of admiration, closing, yaps. Truffles! With a piercing epileptic cry, she sinks on all fours, grunting, snuffling, rooting at his feet, then lies, shamming dead, with eyes shut tight, trembling eyelids, bowed upon the ground in the attitude of most excellent master. Bello, with bobbed-haired, purple gills, fit mustache rings round his shaven mouth and mountaineer's puties, green silver-button coat, sports skirt, and alpine hat with moorcock's feather, his hands stuck deep in his breeches pockets, places his heels on her neck and grinds it in. Footstool, feel my entire weight. Bow, bond slave, before the throne of your despot's glorious heels, so glistening in their proud erectness. Bloom, enthralled, bleats, I promise never to disobey. Bello laughs loudly. Holy smoke! You little know what's in store for you. I'm the Tartar to settle your little lot and break you in. I'll bet Kentucky cocktails all round I shame it out of you, old son. Cheek me, I dare you, if you do tremble in anticipation of heel discipline to be inflicted in gym costume. Bloom creeps under the sofa and peers out through the fringe. Zoe widening her slip to screen her. She's not here. Bloom closing her eyes. She's not here. Florrie hiding her with her gown. She didn't mean it, Mr. Bello. She'll be good, sir. Kitty, don't be too hard on her, Mr. Bello. Sure you won't, ma'am, sir. Bello, coaxingly. Come, ducky dear. I want a word with you, darling, just to administer correction. Just a little heart-to-heart talk, sweetie. Bloom puts out her timid head. That's a good girlie now. Bloom grabs her hair violently and drags her forward. I only want to correct you for your own good, on a soft, safe spot. How's that tender behind? Oh, ever so gently, pet. Begin to get ready. Bloom, fainting. Don't tear my... Bello, savagely. The nose ring, the pliers, the bastindeau, the hanging hook. The knout I'll make you kiss while the flutes play like the Nubian slave of old. You're in for it this time. I'll make you remember me for the balance of your natural life. His forehead veins swollen, his face congested. I shall sit on your ottoman saddleback every morning after my thumping good breakfast of Matterson's fat ham rashers and a bottle of Guinness's porter. He belches. And suck my thumping good stock exchange cigar while I read the licensed Victualler's Gazette. Very possibly I shall have you slaughtered and skewered in my stables, and enjoy a slice of you with crisp crackling from the baking tin, basted and baked like sucking pig with rice and lemon or currant sauce. It will hurt you. He twists her arm. Bloom squeals, turning turtle. Bloom, don't be cruel, nurse, don't. Bello, twisting. Another. Bloom screams. Oh, it's hell itself. Every nerve in my body aches like mad. Bello shouts, Good! By the rumping, jumping general. That's the best news I've heard these 6 weeks. Here, don't keep me waiting, damn you. He slaps her face. Bloom whimpers, You're after hitting me, I'll tell. Bello, Hold him down, girls, till I squat on him. Zoe, Yes, walk on him, I will. Florrie, I will, don't be greedy. Kitty, No, me, lend him to me. The brothel cook, Miss Kyoff, wrinkled, gray-bearded, in a greasy bib, men's gray and green socks and brogues, flour-smeared, a rolling pin stuck with raw pastry in her bare red arm and hand, appears at the door. Miss Kyoff, ferociously, Can I help? They hold and pinion Bloom. Bello squats with a grunt on Bloom's upturned face, puffing cigar smoke, nursing a fat leg. I see Keating Clay is elected vice chairman of the Richmond Asylum, and by the by, Guinness's preference shares are at 16 3 quaffers. Curse me for a fool that didn't buy that lot Craig and Gardner told me about. Just my infernal luck, curse it. And that goddamn outsider throwaway at 20 to 1. He quenches his cigar angrily on Bloom's ear. Where's that goddamn cursed ashtray? Bloom, goaded, buttock smothered. Oh, monsters, cruel one. Bello, ask for that every 10 minutes. Beg, pray for it as you've never prayed before. He thrusts out a figged fist and foul cigar. Here, kiss that. Both. Kiss. He throws his leg astride, and pressing with horseman's knees, calls in a hard voice. Gee up! A cock horse to Banbury Cross. I'll ride him for the Eclipse Stakes. He bends sideways and squeezes his mount's testicles roughly, shouting, Ho! Off we pop! I'll nurse you in proper fashion. He horse rides, cock horse, leaping in the saddle. The lady goes a pace, and the coachman goes a trot, and the gentleman goes a gallop, a gallop, a gallop, a gallop. Florrie pulls at Bello. Let me on him now. You had enough. I asked before you. Zoe pulling at Florrie. Me. Are you not finished with him yet, succoress? Bloom stifling. Can't. Bello. Well, I'm not. Wait. He holds in his breath. Curse it. Here. This bung's about to burst. He uncorks himself behind, then contorting his features, farts loudly. Take that. He recorks himself. Yes, by jingo, 16 3/4. Bloom, a sweat breaking out over him. Not man, he sniffs. Woman. Bello stands up. No more blow hot and cold. What you longed for has come to pass. Henceforth you are unmanned and mine in earnest, a thing under the yoke. Now for your punishment, Frock. You will shed your male garments, you understand, Ruby Cohen? And don't the shot silk luxurious rustling over heads and shoulders, and quickly, too. Bloom shrinks. Silk, mistress said. Oh, crinkly scrapey, must I tip-touch it with my nails? Bello points to his whores. As they are now, so will you be, wigged, singed, perfume-sprayed, rice-powered, with smooth-shaven armpits. Tape measurements will be taken next to your skin. You will be laced with cruel force into vice-like corsets of soft dove coutil with whalebone busk to the diamond-trim pelvis, the absolute outside edge, while your figure, plumper than when at large, will be restrained in net-tight frocks, pretty 2-ounce petticoats, and fringes and things stamped, of course, with my house flag, creations of lovely lingerie for Alice, and nice scent for Alice. Alice will fill the pole. Martha and Mary will be a little chilly at first in such delicate thigh casing, but the frilly fullness of lace around your bare knees will remind you. Bloom, a charming soubrette with dauby cheeks, mustard hair, and large male hands and nose, leering mouth. I tried her things on only once, a small prank, in Hollis Street. When we were hard up, I washed them to save the laundry bill. My own shirts, I turned. It was the purest thrift. Bello jeers. Little jobs that make mother pleased, eh? And show off coquettishly in your domino at the mirror behind close-drawn blinds, your unskirted thighs and he-goat's udders in various poses of surrender, eh? Oh, I have to laugh. That second black opera top, shift, and short trunk-leg naughties all split up the stitches at her last rape that Miss Miriam Dondrede sold you from the Shelburne Hotel, eh? Bloom, Miriam, black, demi-mondaine. Bello guffaws. Christ almighty, it's too tickling, this. You were a nice-looking Miriam when you clipped off your backgate hairs and lay swooning in the thing across the bed at Miss Dondrede, about to be violated by Lieutenant Smith. Mr. Philip Augustus Blockwell, M.P., Senor Lacy de Remo, the robust tenor, blue-eyed Bert, the lift boy, Henry Fleury of Gordon Bennett fame, Sheridan, the quadroon, Croesus, the varsity wet bob, 8 from Old Trinity, Ponto, her splendid newfound land, and Bobs, Dowager Duchess of Manor Hamilton. He guffaws again. Christ, wouldn't it make a Siamese cat laugh? Bloom, her hands and features working. It was Gerald converted me to be a true corset lover when I was a female impersonator in the high school play, vice versa. It was dear Gerald. He got that kink, fascinated by Sister Stays. Now dearest Gerald uses pinky grease paint and gilds his eyelids, cult of the beautiful. Bello with wicked glee. Beautiful. Give us a breather. When you took your seat with womanish care, lifting your billowy flounces on a smooth-worn throne. Bloom. Science. To compare the various joys we each enjoy. Earnestly. And really, it's better the position, because often I used to wet. Bellows sternly. No insubordination. The sawdust is there in the corner for you. I gave you strict instructions, didn't I? Do it standing, sir. I'll teach you to behave like a gentleman. If I catch a trace on your swaddles, aha, by the ass of the Dorans you'll find I'm a martinet. The sins of your past are rising against you. Many, hundreds. The sins of the past, in a medley of voices. He went through a form of clandestine marriage with at least one woman in the shadow of the Black Church. Unspeakable messages he telephoned mentally to Miss Dunn at an address in Dahlia Street while he presented himself indecently to the instrument in the call box. By word, indeed, he frankly encouraged nocturnal strumpet to deposit fecal and other matter in an unsanitary outhouse attached to empty premises. In 5 public conveniences, he wrote penciled messages offering his nuptial partner to all strong-membered males. And by the offensive-smelling vitriol works, he did not pass night after night by loving courting couples to see if and what and about how much he could see. Did he not lie in bed, the crossbore, gloating over a nauseous fragment of well-used toilet paper presented to him by a nasty harlot stimulated by gingerbread and a postal order? Bello whistles loudly. Say, what was the most revolting piece of obscenity in all your career of crime? Go to the whole hog, puke it out, be candid for once. Mute inhuman faces throng forward, leering, vanishing, gibbering. Boolahum, Poldycock, bootlaces, a penny, Cassidy's hag, blind stripling, Larry Rhinoceros, the girl, the woman, the whore, the other, the... Bloom, don't ask me, our mutual faith, Pleasant Street. I only thought the half of the... I swear on my sacred oath. Bello, peremptorily. Answer, repugnant wretch. I insist on knowing. Tell me something to amuse me. Smut, or bloody good ghost story, or line of poetry. Quick, quick, quick. Where? How? What time? With how many? I give you just 3 seconds. 1, 2, Bloom, docile, gurgles. I repugnosed and repugnant. Bellow imperiously. Oh, get it out, you skunk. Hold your tongue. Speak when you're spoken to. Bloom bows. Master, mistress, Mantimer. He lifts his arms. His bangled bracelets fill. Bellow satirically. By day, you will souse and bat our smelling underclothes also when me ladies are unwell, and swab out our latrines with dress pinned up and a dishclout tied to your tail. Won't that be nice? He places a ruby ring on her finger. And there now, with this ring I thee own. Say thank you, mistress. Bloom. Thank you, mistress. Bloom. You will make the beds, get my tub ready, empty the piss pots in the different rooms, including old Miss Kioff's, the cook's, a sandy one. Aye, and rinse the 7 of them well, mind, or lap it up like champagne. Drink me piping hot. Hop. You will dance attendance, or I'll lecture you on your misdeeds, Miss Ruby, and spank your bare bot right well, miss, with the hairbrush. You'll be taught the error of your ways. At night your well-creamed braceleted hands will wear 43-button gloves, new powdered with talc, and having delicately scented fingertips. For such favors knights of old laid down their lives, he chuckled. My boys will be no end charmed to see you so ladylike, the colonel above all. When they come here the night before the wedding to fondle my new attraction in gilded heels, first I'll have a go at you myself. A man I know on the turf named Charles Alberto Marsh. I was in bed with him just now, and another gentleman, out of the Hanaper and Petty Bag office, is on the lookout for a maid of all work and a short knock. Swell the bust, smile, droop shoulders. What offers? He points. For that lot? Trained by owner to fetch and carry, basket in mouth? He bares his arms and plunges it elbow deep in Bloom's vulva. There's fine depth for you. What, boys? That give you a hard-on? He shoves his arms in a bidder's face. Here, wet the deck and wipe it round. A bidder. A florin. Dylan's lackey rings his handbell. The lackey. Brang. A voice. 1 and 8p too much. Charles Alberta Marsh. Must be virgin. Good breath. Clean. Bellow. Gives a rap with his gavel. 2 bar. Rock-bottom figure and a cheap at the price. 14 hands high. Touch and examine his points. Handle him. This downy skin, these soft muscles, this tender flesh. If I had only my gold piercer here. And quite easy to milk. 3 new-laid gallons a day, a pure stock getter, due to lay within the hour. His sire's milk record was 1,000 gallons of whole milk in 40 weeks. Whoa, my jewel, beg up, whoa! He brands his initial C on Bloom's croup. So, Warranted Cohen, what advance on 2 bob, gentlemen? A dark-visaged man in disguised accent. 100 pounds sterling? Voices subdued. For the Caliph, Harun al-Rashid. Bellow gaily. Right, let them come in. The scanty, darrowly short skirt, riding up at the knee to show a peep of white pantalette, is a potent weapon in transparent stockings, emerald gartered. With the long, straight seam trailing up beyond the knee, appeal to the better instincts of the blase man about town. Learn the smooth mincing walk on 4-inch Louis Quinn's heels, the Grecian bend with provoking croup, the thighs fluorescent, knees modestly kissing. Bring all your powers of fascination to bear on them, pander to their Gomorran vices. Bloom bends his blushing face into his armpit and simpers with forefinger in mouth. Oh, I know what you're hinting at now. Bellow, what else are you good for? An impotent thing like you? He stoops and, peering, pokes with his fan rudely under the fat sweat folds of Bloom's haunches. Up, Manx cat. What have we have here? Where's your curly teapot gone to? Or who docked it on you? Cock yolly? Sing, birdie, sing. It's as limp as a boy of 6's doing his pulley behind a cart. Buy a bucket or sell your pump. Loudly. Can you do a man's job? Bloom. Eccles Street. Bellow sarcastically. I wouldn't hurt your feelings for the world, but there's a man of brawn in possession there. The tables are turned, my gay young fellow. He is something like a full-grown outdoor man. Well, for you, you muff, if you had that weapon with knobs and lumps and warts all over it. He shot his bolt, I can tell you. Foot to foot, knee to knee, belly to belly, boobs to breast. He's no eunuch. A shock of red hair he has sticking out of him, behind like a furzebush. Wait for 9 months, my lad. Holy ginger, it's kicking and coughing up and down in her guts already. That makes you wild, don't it? Touches the spot? He spits in contempt. Spittoon. Bloom. I was indecently treated. I. Inform the police. £100. Unmentionable. Bellow. Would if you could, lame duck. A downpour we want, not your drizzle. Bloom. To drive me mad. Moll. I forgot. Forgive. Moll. We. Still. Bellow, ruthlessly. No, Leopold Bloom, all is changed by woman's will since you slept horizontal in Sleepy Hollow your night of 20 years. Return and see. Old Sleepy Hollow calls over the wold. Sleepy Hollow. Rip Van Winkle. Bloom, in tattered moccasins with a rusty fowling piece, tiptoeing, finger-tipping, his haggard, bony, bearded face peering through the diamond panes, cries out, I see her! It's she! The first night at Matt Dillon's, but that dress, the green, and her hair is dyed gold, and he... Bellow laughs mockingly. That's your daughter, you owl, with a Mullinger student. Millie Bloom, fair-haired, green-vested, slim-sandaled, her blue scarf in the sea wind simply swirling, breaks from the arms of her lover and calls, her young eyes wonder-wide. Millie. My, it's Popley, but, oh Popley, how old you've grown. Bellow. Changed, eh? Our whatnot, our writing table where we never wrote, Aunt Heggerty's armchair, our classic reprints of old masters, a man and his men friends are living there in clover, the cuckoo's rest. Why not? How many women had you, eh? Following them up dark streets, flat-foot, exciting them by your smothered grunts? What, you, male prostitute? Blameless dames with parcels of groceries, turn about, sauce for the goose, my gander, oh. Bloom. Bellow, cuttingly, their heel marks will stamp the brusselette carpet you bought at Wren's auction, and their horseplay with Moll the romp to find the buck flea in her breeches. They will deface the little statue you carried home in the rain for art's sake. They will violate the secrets of your bottom drawer. Pages will be turned from your handbook of astronomy to make them pipe spills, and they will spit in your 10-shilling brass fender from Hampton Leadham's. Bloom. 10 and 6. The act of low scoundrels. Let me go. I will return. I will prove. A voice. Swear. Bloom clenches his fist and crawls forward, a bowie knife between his teeth. Bellow. As a paying guest or a kept man? Too late. You have made your second best bed, and others must lie in it. Your epitaph is written. You are down and out, and don't you forget it, old bean. Bloom. Justice! All Ireland versus one. Has nobody? He bites his thumb. Bellow. Die and be damned to you if you have any old sense of decency or grace about you. I can give you a rare old wine that'll send you skipping to hell and back. Sign a will and leave us any coin you have. If you have none, see you, but damn well get it, steal it, rob it. We'll bury you in your shrubbery, Jakes, where you'll be dead and dirty with old Cuck Cohen, my step-nephew I married, the bloody old gouty procurator and sodomite, with a crick in his neck, and my other 10 or 11 husbands, whatever the buggers' names were, suffocated in the one cesspool. He explodes in a loud, flimmy laugh. We'll manure you, Mr. Flower. He pipes scoffingly. Bibby, holy Bibby Papley. Bloom clasps his head. My willpower, memory, I have sinned, I have suffered. He weeps tearlessly. Bellow sneers. Crybaby, crocodile tears. Bloom, broken, closely veiled for the sacrifice, sobs, his face to the earth. The passing bell is heard. Dark-shawled figures of the circumcised in sackcloth and ashes stand by the wailing wall. Miss Shulamowitz, Joseph Goldwater, Moses Herzog, Harris Rosenberg, Monsieur Moisel, J. Citron, Minnie Watchman, P. Mashtinsky, the Reverend Leopold Abramowitz, Chazin. With swaying arms they wail in pneuma over the recreant Bloom. The circumcised, in dark guttural chant, as they cast Dead Sea fruit upon him, no flowers. Shema Israel Odonai Elohenu Adonai Akkad. Voices sighing. So she's gone. Ah, yes, yes indeed. Bloom? Never heard of him? No? Queer kind of chap. There's the widow. That's so. Ah, yes. From the Sute pyre the flame of gum campfire ascends. The pall of incense smoke screens and disperses. Out of her oak frame a nymph with hair unbound, lightly clad in tea-brown art colors, descends from her grotto, and passing under interlacing yews stands over Bloom. The yews, their leaves whispering, Sister, our sister, shh. The nymph softly, Mortal, kindly, nay, dost not weepest? Bloom crawls jellily forward under the boughs, streaked by sunlight with dignity. This position, I felt it was expected of me, force of habit. The nymph, Mortal, you found me in evil company, high kickers, coster picnic makers, pugilists, popular generals, immoral panto boys in flesh tights, and the nifty shimmy dancers, La Aurora and Carony, musical act, the hit of the century. I was hidden in cheap pink paper that smelt of rock oil. I was surrounded by the stale smut of clubmen, stories to disturb callow youth, ads for transparencies, trued-up dice and bust pads, proprietary articles, and why wear a truss with testimonial from ruptured gentlemen. Useful hints to the married. Bloom lifts the turtle head towards her lap. We have met before, on another star. The nymph sadly. Rubber goods. Never-writ brand is supplied to the aristocracy. Corsets for men. I cure fits or money refunded. Unsolicited testimonials for Professor Waldman's wonderful chest exuber. My bust developed 4 inches in 3 weeks, reports Miss Gus Rublin with photo. Bloom, you mean photo bits? The nymph, I do. You bore me away, framed me in oak and tinsel, set me above your marriage couch. Unseen one summer eve you kissed me in 4 places, and with loving pencil you shaded my eyes, my bosom, and my shame. Bloom humbly kisses her long hair. Your classic curves, beautiful immortal. I was glad to look on you, to praise you, a thing of beauty, almost to pray. The nymph, during dark nights I heard your praise. Bloom, quickly, yes, yes, you mean that Sleep reveals the worst side of everyone. Children, perhaps, excepted. I know I fell out of bed, or rather was pushed. Steel wine is said to cure snoring. For the rest, there is that English invention, pamphlet of which I received some days ago, incorrectly addressed. It seems to afford a noiseless, inoffensive vent. He sighs. 'Twas ever thus. Frailty, thy name is marriage. The nymph, her fingers in her ears. And words, they are not in my dictionary. Bloom, you understood them? The yews. Shh. The nymph covers her face with her hands. What have I not seen in that chamber? What must my eyes look down on? Bloom apologetically. I know. soiled personal linen, wrong side up with care. The quoits are loose, from Gibraltar by long sea long ago. The nymph bends her head. Worse, worse. Bloom reflects precautiously. That antiquated commode, it wasn't her weight. She scaled just 11 stone 9. She put on 9 pounds after weaning. It was a crack and want of glue. Eh? And that absurd orange-keyed utensil, which has only one handle? The sound of a waterfall is heard in bright cascade. The waterfall. Pula fuka, pula fuka, pula fuka, pula fuka. The ewes mingling their boughs. Listen, whisper, she is right, our sister. We grew by Pula fuka waterfall. We gave shade on languorous summer days. John Wiles Nolan, in the background in Irish National Forester's uniform, doffs his plumed hat. Prosper, give shade on languorous days, trees of Ireland. The ewes murmuring, who came to Pulafuka with the high school excursion, who left his nut-questing classmates to seek our shade. Bloom, scared, high school of Pula, Nemo, not in full possession of faculties, concussion, run over by tram. The echo, sham. Bloom, pigeon-breasted, bottle-shouldered, padded, in nondescript juvenile gray and black striped suit, too small for him. White tennis shoes, bordered stockings with turnover tops, and a red school cap with badge. I was in my teens, a growing boy. A little then sufficed, a jolting car, the mingling odor of the ladies' cloakroom and lavatory, the throng pinned tight on the old royal stairs, for they love crushes, instinct of the herd, and the dark sex-smelling theater unbridles vice. Even a price list of their hosiery, and then the heat. There were sunspots that summer, end of school, and tipsy cake. Halcyon days. Halcyon days, high school boys in blue and white football jerseys and shorts, Master Donald Turnbull, Master Abraham Chatterton, Master Owen Goldberg, Master Jack Meredith, Master Percy Apjohn, stand in the clearing of the trees and shout to Master Leopold Bloom. The halcyon days, mackerel, live us again, hooray, they cheer. Bloom, hobbled ahoy, warm-gloved, mama-mufflered, starred with spent snowballs, struggles to rise. Again, I feel 16, what a lark. Let's ring all the bells in Montague Street. He cheers feebly, hooray for the high school. The echo, fool. The ewes rustling, she is right, our sister, whisper. Whispered kisses are heard in all the wood. Faces of hamadryads peep out of the holes, and from among the leaves and break, blossoming into bloom. Who profaned our silent shade? The nymph, coyly through parting fingers. There, in the open air? The ewes sweeping downward. Sister, yes, and on our virgin sward. The waterfall. Pula fuka, pula fuka. Falca, 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 falca. The nymph with wide fingers. Oh, infamy. Bloom. I was precocious, youth. The fauna. I sacrificed to the god of the forest. The flowers that bloom in the spring. It was pairing time. Capillary attraction is a natural phenomenon. Lottie Clark, flaxen-haired. I saw her at night toilette with ill-closed curtains, with poor papa's opera glasses. The wanton ate grass wildly. She rolled downhill at Rialto Bridge to tempt me with her flow of animal spirits. She climbed their crooked tree, and I, a saint, couldn't resist it. The demon possessed me. Besides, who saw? Staggering Bob, a white-polled calf, thrusts a ruminating head with humid nostrils through the foliage. Staggering Bob, large teardrops rolling from his prominent eyes, snivels, me see. Bloom, simply satisfying a need with pathos. No girl would when I went girling, too ugly, they wouldn't play. High on Ben Hal through rhododendrons, a nanny goat passes, plum-puttered, buddy-tailed, dropping currants. The nanny goat bleats, meh, na. Bloom, hatless, flushed, covered with burrs of thistledown and gorse-spine, regularly engaged, circumstances alter cases. He gazes intently downwards on the water, 32 head over heels per second, press nightmare, giddy Elijah, fall from cliff, sat in to government printer's clerk. Through silver silent summer air the dummy of Bloom, rolled in a mummy, rolls retreatingly from the Lion's Head cliff into the purple waiting waters. The dummy mummy, far out in the bay between Bailey and Kish lights the Erin King's sails, sending a broadening plume of coal smoke from her funnel towards the land. Counselor Nanetti. Alone on deck, in dark alpaca, yellow kite-faced, his hand in his waistcoat opening declaims, when my country takes her place among the nations of the earth, then and not till then let my epitaph be written. I have. Bloom. Done. Pfft. The nymph loftily. We immortals, as you saw today, have not such a place and no hair there either. We are stone cold and pure. We eat electric light. She arches her body in lascivious crispation, placing her forefinger in her mouth. Spoke to me, heard from behind. How then could you? Bloom, pawing the heather objectively. Oh, I have been a perfect pig. Enemas, too, I have administered, 1/3 of a pint of quassia, to which add a tablespoon of rock salt. Up the fundament, with Hamilton's long syringe, the lady's friend. The nymph, in my presence, the powder puff, she blushes and makes a knee, and the rest. Bloom, dejected. Yes, Pechavi. I have paid homage on that living altar where the back changes name with sudden fervor. For why should the dainty, scented, jeweled hands, the hand that rules? Figures wind, serpenting in slow woodland pattern around the tree stems, cooing. The voice of Kitty, in the thicket. Show us one of them cushions. The voice of Flory. Here. A grouse wings clumsily through the underwood. The voice of Lynch. In the thicket. Whoo! Piping hot. The voice of Zoe from the thicket. Came from a hot place. The voice of Virag, a bird chief blue-streaked and feathered in war panoply with his assegai, striding through a crackling canebrake over beech mast and acorns. Hot, hot, where sitting bull? Bloom, it overpowers me, the warm empress of her warm form, even to sit where a woman is sat, especially with divaricated thighs, as though to grant the last favors, most especially with previous well-uplifted white sateen coat pans. So womanly, full, it fills me full. The waterfall, Filafula, Pulapuka, Pulafuka. The ewes, shh, sister, speak. The nymph, eyeless in nun's white habit, coif and huge-winged wimple, softly with remote eyes. Tranquilla convent, Sister Agatha, Mount Carmel, the apparitions of Knock and Lourdes, no more desire. She reclines her head, sighing. Only the ethereal, where dreamy, creamy gulls wave o'er the waters dull. Bloom half rises, his black trouser button snaps. The button. Two sluts of the Kumba dance rainly by, shawled, yelling flatly. The sluts. Oh, Leopold lost the pin of his drawers. He didn't know what to do. To keep it up, to keep it up. Bloom, coldly. You have broken the spell, the last straw. If there were only ethereal, where would you all be? Postulant and novices, shy but willing like an ass pissing. The ewes, their silver foil of leaves precipitating, their skinny arms aging and swaying, deciduously. The nymph, her features hardening, gropes in the folds of her habit. Sacrilege! To attempt my virtue! A large, moist stain appears on her robe. Sully my innocence! You are not fit to touch the garment of a pure woman. She clutches again in her robe. Wait! Satan, you'll sing no more love songs. Amen, amen, amen. She draws a poniard, and clad in the sheath mail of an elected knight of nine, strikes at his loins. Nekum! Bloom starts up, seizes her hand. Hoy! Nebricada, cat o' nine lives. Fair play, madame. No pruning knife. The fox and the grapes, is it? What do you lack with your barbed wire? Crucifix not thick enough? He clutches her veil. A holy abbot you want, or Brophy, the lame gardener, or the spoutless statue of the water carrier, or good mother Alphonsus, eh, Renard? The nymph, with a cry, flees from him unveiled, her plaster cast cracking, a cloud of stench escaping from the cracks. Polly! Bloom calls after her, as if you didn't get it on the double yourselves. No jerks and multiple mucosities all over you. I tried it. Your strengths, our weaknesses. Where's your stud fee? What will you pay on the nail, you fee men dancers on the Riviera? I read. The fleeing nymph raises a keen. Eh? I have 16 years of black slave labor behind me, and would a jury give me 5 shillings alimony tomorrow? Eh? Fool someone else, not me. He sniffs. Rut. Onions, stale sulfur, grease. The figure of Bella Colin stands before him. You'll know me the next time. Bloom, composed, regards her. Passé. Mutton dressed as lamb, long in the tooth, and superfluous hair. A raw onion, the last thing at night would benefit your complexion. And take some double chin drill, your eyes are as vapid as the glass eyes of our stuffed fox. They have the dimensions of your other features, that's all. I'm not a triple screw propeller. Bella contemptuously, you're not game, in fact. Her sow cunt barks, Verbracht. Bloom contemptuously, clean your nailless middle finger first. Your bully's cold spunk is dripping from your coxcomb. Take a handful of hay and wipe yourself. Bella, I know you, canvasser, dead cod. Bloom, I saw him, kip keeper, pox and gleet vendor. Bella turns to the piano. Which of you was playing the Dead March from Saul? Zoe, me, mind your cornflowers. She darts to the piano and bangs chords on it with crossed arms. The cats ramble through the slag. She glances back. Who's making love to my sweeties? She darts back to the table. What's yours is mine, and what's mine is my own. Kitty, disconcerted, coats her teeth with a silver paper. Bloom approaches Zoe. Bloom, gently. Give me back that potato, will you? Zoe, forfeits, a fine thing and a superfine thing. Bloom, with feeling. It is nothing, but still a relic of poor mamma. Zoe, give a thing and take it back. God'll ask you where is that. You'll say you don't know. God'll send you down below. Bloom, there is a memory attached to it. I should like to have it. Stefan, to have or not to have, that is the question. Zoe, here. She hauls up a reef of her slip, revealing her bare thigh, and unrolls the potato from the top of her stocking. Those that hides know where to find. Bella frowns. Here, this isn't a musical peep show, and don't you smash that piano. Who's paying here? She goes to the pianola. Stefan fumbles in his pocket and, taking out a banknote by its corner, hands it to her. Stefan, with exaggerated politeness, this silken purse I made out of the sow's ear of the public. Madame, excuse me, if you will allow me. He indicates vaguely Lynch and Bloom. We are all in the same sweepstake, Kinch and Lynch. Dans ce bordel est un nom notre état. Lynch calls from the hearth. Daedalus, give her your blessing for me. Stefan hands Bella a coin. Gold. She has it. Bella looks at the money, then at Stefan, then at Zoe, Florrie, and Kitty. Do you want 3 girls? It's 10 shillings here. Stefan, delightedly, 100,000 apologies. He fumbles again, and takes out and hands her 2 crowns. Permit, brevi manu. My sight is somewhat troubled. Bella goes to the table to count the money, while Stefan talks to himself in monosyllables. Zoe bends over the table. Kitty leans over Zoe's neck. Lynch gets up, rights his cap, and clasping Kitty's waist, adds his head to the group. Florrie strives heavily to rise. Ow, my foot's asleep. She limps over to the table. Bloom approaches. Bella, Zoe, Kitty, Lynch, and Bloom, chattering and squabbling. The gentleman, 10 shillings, paying for the 3. Allow me a moment. This gentleman pays separate. Who's touching it? Ow. Mind who you're pinching. Are you staying the night or a short time? Who did? You're a liar, excuse me.